So I was looking around on the internet for one of the Rodney Mullen Uber Light decks. I wanted to know if it was really the lightest board in the world. I had a look around on YouTube and I found 4 or 5 really good videos that go into the more specific dimensions and all of the rest of the geometry of the board and how it works, and they were really handy, and I'll leave those in the description down below. But I wanted to have a look at it as just the lightest board. What could I do that could make it, essentially for a guy like me who's in his mid-30s, who can't quite get it off the ground anymore like he could when he was 16, I need as much help as I can get. And I figured this would be a great test to see how that works. Rodney Mullen's been an idol of mine since I began skateboarding. He was always the guy that could just do it all. He's the godfather. I just thought that was wicked. He was always the one that was pushing the boundaries even when nobody credited him. And I think that the reason he stuck to his, or because he stuck to his guns, is why he's considered, the grandfather of skateboarding. He really did start it all, along with a few others, but he was very prominent. All right, so this is the board. This is the one. I don't know if you can see it there. That's the Uber Light Rodney Mullen. I got it in 8.375 because I like a wider board. That's just my personal preference. You can get it in an 8, I'm pretty sure, and I think even an 8.2, but don't quote me on that. So basically the board has a foam core on the inside in this section, and then it's covered with carbon fiber over the top. And that sort of lightens the board, but it is a compensation because the quality of the wood is so good, because they want it to be hard and non-flexy. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing actually pops and how it holds up. I've always been an Almost fan. Even the old videos, I always loved them. I always thought it was really cool that they had these unique skateboarders that were sort of rouseabouts. They were sort of the not the underdogs, but they were unique. They always sort of did their own thing, and they supported the skaters doing that. So I've always been a big fan of Almost, but I've never actually owned one of their boards before. So this is kind of cool. The truck choice was actually pretty easy. I went for the Tensors. Now I went for the Maglites, the hollow axle, hollow kingpin ones. So you probably can't see, but there's nothing down the guts and nothing down the center. People say these things break really easy, but I think those guys are trying to huck down like 10 stairs, and they're trying to huck down, massive sets or do big gaps or drops. I think that's where the mistake is being made. They're not really made for that kind of thing, and they're made out of some kind of magnesium aluminum blend, I'm assuming, because they're incredibly light. And people say it takes a while to get used to skating magnesium-based trucks because the metal is so fine compared to, say, an aluminium. I like my trucks to sit basically flush with the board, so there's not a lot of hangover on the ends. I find that there's a bit of a distraction. And also, if the truck is too skinny, you end up having these pivot angles or these pivot points on the board that become really unstable. Some people like that, to be able to flip 360 flips and stuff, but I prefer a more solid base. I like more space on the ground, essentially. Which leads me into this, the wheels. I got the Formula 4 Spitfire tablets. They're 99 Euro, so they're somewhat hard. They're a little bit cream colored. I wouldn't say they're an entire white, but they are, as you can see, flat. And I like that. I had to try and make some compensations between the weight, essentially, in what I was doing, because if I went for a fatter wheel, I was going to add more weight to the board, and that was kind of defeating the purpose. I don't mind a little bit of weight, but I also like wheels that have a hard edge along the side. If it has a hard edge, I find it way easier to lock in. So I kind of made a sacrifice there where I went for a skinnier wheel that still had a flat base, essentially. So there's still a lot of wheel on the ground, but I can also lock in. And that's something that's sort of important to me. I like in my skateboarding. And I mean, if you've seen my skating, I'm not doing anything wild. And the last big one, because I've never had these before, I've never had any of these products before actually, so this will be all new, was the Hardlux ceramic 6-ball bearings. Now I haven't ridden ceramic bearings before, so this will be all brand new to me. Everyone's hyped them up over the years, and they've always been way too expensive to afford, and there was no way I was paying that sort of money for a bearing set. But I'm looking forward to it. People say that it just helps you not to push as much, essentially. And I mean, if you just pump around and do your thing, you should be fine. But I do like the little tin they came in. I think that's kind of cool, considering how much they cost. But it's going to be interesting to find out whether, being ceramic ball bearings, whether they squish or whether they just stop rotating at all. I've heard people have issues with that with ceramic bearings, and then they weren't fast out of the box, so they weren't into it. Sometimes you have to wear a bearing in. So it's going to be interesting to find out. Generally, the ceramic bearing is lighter than an alloy bearing, so that was kind of the decision there. That was the choice I made. Again, just trying to shave a little bit of weight off here and there where I could. So I matched basically all of the parts together to try and make a board that was light, still sturdy, and still had good plank on the ground. And the last big thing, well, not really big, but I think it's kind of big, and I like to get a little technical with it, is grip tape. See, if you're like me and you have a set of tricks that you generally go to, that you enjoy, then I have different types of grip tape for the board. So I might go with a mob through the middle, say, and then I might chuck on, say, an extra hard grizzly over my, I'm regular footed, so I might chuck it over my left foot at the front there, so there's just a bit more flick, there's a bit more stick there. And then the same thing goes for the right foot over the backside. I might put a heavier grain just there, just to get a little bit more friction, a little bit more traction on the ground. After smacking my head and whatnot, I just can't bend or move the way I used to. So doing things like this is, one, interesting. I find it really fun. I hope you guys find it fun. So I think that's basically it. That was all I really wanted to cover. I'll do a review once I've skated and you'll see some skate footage and whatnot come together. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, thanks, man. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for checking it out. I'm just an old boy in Australia doing some skateboarding, something I love, something I'm passionate about and have been my entire life. And if I can share a little bit of like information on this board or what it can bring or just add something to the community, then fuck, that's a win. Winning. I'll catch you all later. Peace.